If we don't protect the work and the homies, I guarantee we next.
You don't have what it takes to keep up with a woman like her.
I know where you're at, and you know where I'll be.
Henry and BMF down will at least give us some peace.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mark Dark, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, if you love BMF, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like the video, and leave your theories, comments, everything down below. Now today, we're going to be talking about BMF Season 3, Episode 8. This is the recap. So down below, I want you guys to let me know exactly how did this episode make you feel? What are your predictions for the last 2 episodes of the season? And who do y'all think is going to get dropped off before this season ends? But overall, man, this was a crazy episode. A lot of bodies got dropped off. As I told you guys last night, a lot of right-hand mans got dropped off. And now you already know that Meech and Terry, they're going to go down to Miami, and there's going to be more issues with the MKs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they would get out of all that mess. But we know in this episode, Terry, he stepped up to the plate. He was pretty much making all types of different boss moves, from meeting up with Henrietta's plug and cutting her off, from checking and neutralizing Vince. And we know he had the whole lottery ticket scheme. I mean, your boy Terry was definitely doing what he had to do in this episode. But we know Meech, he had some issues with the MKs, and he had to take out Glock's right-hand man. And what do y'all think is going to happen with Angel? Because she gave Meech some intel, and now she's still kicking it in Miami. She's going to be around the MKs. And we know if Glock finds out what she's done, it's over for her. He's going to cut her water off just like that. Now your boy Detective Bryant, he was on Demon Time once again. We call him Demon Time Bryant. I told you guys last night, this man, he beat the brakes off that Tyson character, man. I told you he turned into Mike Tyson out there, and that dude ain't here no more. I know Henrietta is going to be very, very upset because her pops told her, stop messing around, stop screwing up, because you're going to wind up getting somebody else killed. And guess what? You know what I'm saying? He's gone. So what's going to happen next with Henrietta? I do expect her to go out with a bang. I mean, she lost her plug. She lost Tyson. And I'm pretty sure that Detective Veronica and Jen getting real close to her may end up blowing up. We're going to see. We got 2 more episodes left. I was kind of happy that Veronica and Jen got the hell up out of there, because if Henrietta finds out what she's on, it's over for her. So we're going to see how they end up writing out this story. I'm going to try my best to focus on all the key points in this episode. If I miss anything, you guys let me know down below. So what did we see in episode 8 titled Code Red? Now the episode starts out with Meech. He's back at the Platinum Palace. And of course Glock and the MKs, they're there as well. We know Angel, she's over there dancing, having a good old time, kicking it with Glock and his crew. And Meech decides to go ahead and just make it rain. Had Glock and his crew pissed off, they end up leaving. You can tell Angel was in her feelings. She kept looking back at Meech like she wanted to have a conversation with him. Now Meech ended up hooking up with Lucky. She ended up topping him off in the back, and she wanted to, you know, make things a little bit more serious between the two. But Meech is like, hell nah. He ain't looking for no girl. All he's looking for is getting his off and getting up out of there. Now Terry and Hoop, they have a conversation about Henrietta. They figure out that she was the one that took out Peaches, and she ended up linking up with Peaches' plug, the Chaldeans, and she owes them money. But Terry decides that he is not going to wait for her to pay them money. He is going to go to them himself to make a deal, which ended up working out for him in the long run. Now, we know Vince, he ended up coming to Terry's spot, running his mouth about Markeisha and what he's doing, his business. And then he basically made a threat about the IRS. So this is one of the reasons why Terry was preparing for what's to come, just in case this dude end up going to the IRS. We know he ended up coming up with a great scheme with the lottery tickets, just in case they end up asking some questions. Now Meech, he sees one of the guys outside getting hemmed up by the Red Dogs, and he understands that the real threat is the Red Dogs and that they ain't playing around. Law enforcement in general, they're not playing around. Of course, we know laws are changing, and they're trying to give cats the death penalty for drug crimes, and he has to make sure that he is good and his crew is good as well, just in case something does jump off. And he does mention that they need a new mechanic in order to elevate their stuff to move product in a better way. And Duffy said he's going to look around, and they also talk about what's going to happen with Remy. Now, we know that Meech was supposed to meet up with Clyde later on to discuss what needs to happen to get this guy neutralized. Now, Pastor Fleming's testimony, it touched a lot of people, and it seemed like it had more of an effect on LaWanda. She really started to think about her future and what she needs to do instead of thinking about Terry and how Terry needs to be there. She wants to, finally focus on herself and think about what's next. And Lucille did tell her that is a wise plan, to think about what you need to do along with your babies, just in case things don't play out the way you think they're going to play out. Now, Meech meets up with Clyde once again to discuss what's going to happen with Remy and if the other crews are down. It seems like it's still some other crews there, kind of back and forth on what they want to do. But Meech tells Clyde he needs to make sure that they're all ready to go. And he talks about, meeting up at Platinum Palace. Of all places, Platinum Palace. I mean, there's always fights there, but he is saying that it's not going to be any weapons and they can just discuss business. And he talks about how, the whole MKs and the, Remy, it would be bad for them to be going back and forth with violence because of the Red Dogs, which is very smart. They have the Olympics coming, so of course they will be watching a whole lot. So no one can really be making any crazy moves. Sad thing is, we know Clyde, he was not fortunate enough to make it to that meeting, right? But we know Remy, he made sure Meech had a special present, in memory of Clyde. Now, we get to Detective Bryant. He is smoking, he is drinking. I mean, he is on one. He's missing his son, Kevin. And we know that Detective Veronica Jen, she has to come there and tell him he needs to clean up, stop, having a pity party, stop blaming people. It's not going to bring, Detective Emerson back or your son. We have to be on our P's and Q's and we got to be on it. So they end up, linking up and decided what they needed to do. In the conversation that they had, we know that Veronica Jen, she saw Detective Emerson as a sister. We know the history with her and her real sister, so that relationship really meant a lot to her. And we know that Bryant, he was talking about his son and how Tyson was the one that came to the facility right before his son ended up, of course, taking himself out. And we know Tyson came there when his son needed protection, right? So he's already mentally blaming this on Tyson. They end up agreeing with Veronica Jen having to tell Henrietta, and we know that Bryant will tell Tyson. And we know Detective Bryant, he really does care for Veronica Jen because he tells her he cannot afford to lose her. He cannot afford to lose anybody else. So it lets us know that he really does have those feelings for her. Now we get to your boy, Raw Dog Charles. He ends up telling Lucille that somebody at the church recommended him to play for the Campbell brothers. So he is happy, y'all. And he wants Lucille to be there to support him. And Lucille, she really told this man, can she bring Maurice? Now, I know she was joking or whatever, but y'all know when any joke is some truth in it. She was really feeling that. She really wanted to bring the doctor there, right? Charles was not liking that at all. You can tell by the look on his face. He was kind of disappointed. All he wants is Lucille to be there for him in one of his biggest moments. Y'all know how Charles loves music, and he just wants to have a good time. But man, she really said that to your boy Raw Dog Charles. But unfortunately, the doctor was not in this episode. I really want to see Charles and the doctor go one-on-one. They need to throw those hands. But besides that, we know Charles was in his feelings because Lucille basically told him it's up to her as far as what she wants to do, because we know Charles, he is trying to do whatever it takes to, put the family back together and, of course, to have her on his side. Now, we get to Nicole. She's kicking it with Breeze. And, of course, his friend and, his girl, they're up front in the front seats. And we know Breeze, he gives her the note about her being his girlfriend. And she says yes. Seems like everything is going real good for Nicole, right? And his boy, he's at the store getting some condoms, talking about he thinks hitting Raw was so much better. Damn. I guess he been hanging around Raw Dog Charles entirely too much. I mean, hitting Raw is way better, but still, I mean, he's a kid, man. And Breeze, he told him, look, him and Nicole, they taking this slow, because he was trying to, put the peer pressure all up on him as far as what he needs to do and stuff. But Breeze actually does care about her, and he does want to move slow. The sad thing is, Terry, he was right there. You know what I'm saying? All he probably heard is hitting Raw and all that stuff. So he's like, hell nah. You ain't messing around with my sister. So he went out there and he took Nicole out the car and he completely embarrassed her. And he wasn't playing around. And Nicole, she was trying to not listen to him, but Terry, he wasn't going. And y'all know she's definitely going to be pissed off at him for a while. But to be honest, y'all, I do not blame Terry at all. If I would have heard somebody talking about hitting Raw was so much better and they buying some straps, I'd have been like, hell nah. I'm going out there too we gonna have a problem. Now, we get to Meech and the new mechanic. They want to test out this new way to hide the drugs just in case people like the Red Dogs pop up and try to find stuff. So they're going to test out this new technique and see if it works. We know later on in the episode, one of the guys does end up getting hemmed up. They find what he thought was coke, but it was baking soda. I mean, the Red Dogs, they was not playing around in this episode, and we know they was pissed off when they realized that it was not real coke. And then we know they had to hurry up and get to Techwood because they heard about the MKs and drama jumping off there. Now, Clyde meets up with the other crews. He is still trying to see what time it is as far as them joining Meech and, leaving Remy up out of the picture. Sad thing is, this game plan did not work. Clyde is moving entirely too slow, and Remy, he can just walk up in there. And that's exactly what ended up happening. He was hearing about what they was talking about, and he ain't going. This time, he said, you know what? I'm taking you out. And he ends up dropping his boy off. I mean, they grew up together. This is his right hand. We know Remy was talking about how he raised him like he was his son. And he was basically disappointed, right? And we know he got the slicing and dicing Clyde all up. And we know he took some body parts to the Platinum Palace for Meech to see. Now, we get to Henrietta and we know she still has to pay the supplier, which she does not have enough money and she's struggling. Luckily, her dad's right-hand man, aka her uncle, brings her some money to make the payment to save her, right? And she's like, man, I can't believe you did this. And then she comes to the realization that she does not like what her dad is on, and she feels like he left her out in the dry. And we know Tyson is talking about, screw your dad, you know what I'm saying? He ain't for you. And this is one of the reasons why he decided to work with her instead of her pops. I mean, he ain't feeling it, right? The sad thing is she already lost a cousin Twan, and now she's about to lose Tyson. And I know once she finds out about what happened to Tyson, she's going to be very, very upset. And I want to know what her dad's going to say to her, because I could have sworn he told her this not that long ago. Like, if you keep slipping up, somebody else close to you is going to die. And it seems like dad, he was right all along. Now, we get to your boy Raw Dog Charles. He is getting shaped up by Terry. I mean, y'all was cracking on Terry, man, talking about y'all want to have him shape y'all up with his eye and all that stuff. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? But Charles is getting shaped up. We know he needs some money. He's basically trying to make sure that Lucille is going to have a great night if she does pop up at his performance or whatever. And Terry does give him some cash. Now, Charles, he was trying to work for it. But Terry's like, look, this is an advance. You can have it. Charles took that money. He was happy as hell. He was looking like, man, screw all this. I'm about to move these bricks. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired. I need this money and I need it now. We know this is just the beginning of Charles being involved in the whole business. And I cannot wait to see how they're going to develop this story. Now, we know Meech has a conversation with Terry about basically going down to Miami. They're going to probably end up linking up with that boxer that we saw a few episodes back. And remember his car that he showed them outside the club? He had all those hidden, compartments. And apparently the mechanic that he used is down in Miami. So this is why Meech wants to go down there. At the episode 9 description, it pretty much is telling us that's what they're going to be doing. But of course, there's going to be issues with the MKs. Now we get back to the Red Dogs, and these guys, they're turning up. They're at Techwood, and y'all know they end up destroying Milton's family's house. Remember Milton, the little boy that got dropped off by Glock? I mean, they was up in there just tearing everything up, being very disrespectful. And we know Glock, he was out there, in the outskirts watching. And he had a conversation with his right-hand man. And he told him that this place got cops everywhere. And they need to figure out another way to handle this. He ends up talking about meet me down in Miami. And he tells him he needs to handle Meech. He needs to get him up out of there. Now, Angel, she's right there. So she understands that Glock wants Meech gone. And this is why she tells him about, him to be careful and to watch himself later on in the episode. Now, we get to Terry and Markeisha, and he's talking about his scheme with the whole lottery tickets. Remember Sam? He was back in season 1, I believe like episode 4, and he's been knowing Meech and Terry since they were little boys. And basically, Terry has came up with this new lottery scheme to get people to basically sell their lottery tickets to him, right? Now, he's using Sam and his operation, all his stores in order to do this. They go in, they cash in their ticket. They can rather drive to the lottery headquarters and wait longer, or they can get the money plus an extra 10% to get the cash right there. most people, they're going to go ahead and take that cash and the extra 10%. Then they take that ticket and they use somebody like Hoop's cousin to go make the tax claim on that ticket and get the check. And then they take that check and they basically buy whatever Terry needs them to buy. And then Terry, he's going to give them a cut. He's going to pay off, Sam as well. And when it comes to the IRS, they're never going to ask Terry about anything because technically the taxpayer who claims that ticket, that's who they have to worry about. And using Sam's connections with the Chaldeans and their huge networks with all those stores, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Terry was definitely on one in this episode as far as being very smart and making major business moves. Now, we know your boy Vince, he pops up running his mouth once again. And then Terry finally puts him in his place, letting him know he's watching him. He knows his every move when he's at work, his daily operation. And Vince, he was looking kind of shaky like, man, this dude know everything that I do. And Markeisha told him that Terry is all the man that I need. I don't need you, so you can get up on out of here. I thought Vince was going to be more of a threat, but it seems like that is not the case. We're going to see if we end up seeing more about his character, but from the looks of it, this dude probably went and cried in the car. Now, we get to your boy Raw Dog Charles. He's out there playing his music. He's having a good time. He's happy. Lucille, she's happy. It seems like every time Charles is doing music, she's always in a good mood, right? And Charles, all he wants to do is get her back and get his family back together. And we know when he was outside talking to Lucille, a guy walked up talking about he loved his performance. Lucille does bring up his song that he made and how good it was. And the guy, he wants to hear it. You know what I'm saying? So Charles, he may be on his way. You know what I'm saying? And he seems very, very happy. And Lucille was talking about, how she wishes sometimes she would have made certain moves when they was younger. And maybe they should have spent more time to focus on them. Charles had to tell her, like, look, everything happened for a reason. We was in the position that we were in for a reason. He does not want to take anything back, and they still got time to live out their dreams. It ain't over yet. So Charles, he's saying all the right things. The question is, how does Lucille really feel, and what's going to happen when Dr. Maurice pops back up in the picture? Now we get to Detective Veronica Jen, and she's kicking it with Henrietta. And it seems like the two have a lot in common. She talks about, her sister, and we know Henrietta talks about her mom's and how her mom passed away when she had her. And this is one of the reasons why her dad feels some type of way about her, right? And it's kind of sad or whatever, right? Because we are seeing a different side of Henrietta. And it seems like Detective Veronica Jen is actually having feelings for her. And she cares about, what she's going through. Now, law enforcement, they walked up in there. And your girl Jen, she had to hurry up and kiss Henrietta in order to not allow them to see her. And they go back to Henrietta's spot. They're making out. It's getting real hot. And then Detective Veronica Jen, she sees that picture of Henrietta and her cousins. And she's like, man, I got to get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep sitting around. I have to remember what I need to be doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know Veronica Jen is kind of, feeling bad about what she has to do in order to take down Henrietta. Now, we get to the Platinum Palace and we know Meech, he's supposed to be meeting up with Clyde, but guess what? Clyde, he's showing up. His head showing up at least. And we know Remy, he dropped it off. It was in all ice. Had Tina in there screaming. And I know Meech is like, man, like this dude is messing up all types of different deals. We just trying to make money. We ain't trying to have no issues with nobody. But Remy don't give a damn. And Meech tells him, like, look, if your right-hand man Clyde, if he was willing to leave you, what you think everybody else gonna do? What you think these guys that's right here next to you, what you think they gonna do? They're not gonna stick around because the way you do business is very risky and you gonna mess around and get them all killed. And we already know that Meech, he is, offering them a way better deal. They can make way more money and have less drama. Now, Terry, he takes his boy Sam with him on this deal with the Chaldeans to talk business. And he discusses, Henrietta and why she's going out of business. It's because of Terry, his prices, his product. And he wants them to work with him. He can give them a better deal. They can get, the product from him as well. And they can just cut Henrietta off. That's what he wants. And of course, they end up agreeing. So it seems like your boy Terry has done what he needed to do. Cut Henry straight off. And now she's going to be very, very upset. But the whole move to bring Sam, that was smart. I told y'all your boy Terry, he was on one in this episode. And it seems like he has the one up. I just think that Henrietta, she's going to go out with a bang. It ain't over yet. Now, we get to your girl Angel. She meets up with Meech outside of the club. And Meech was kind of surprised, like, really? Like, you really are coming here to try to give me some type of intel? We know Angel, she really does care about Meech. She still had on his hoodie, and she wants to look out for him, right? She tells him to watch his back, that Glock is up to something, and that this can be very, very dangerous. She also tells him that she will be going down to Miami to a new club, and Meech, he told her, make sure that she is safe. You know what I'm saying? He still cares for her. He wants to make sure that she's good as well. We know she was all in her feelings because Meech left, but it seems like the two, they have, you know, for at least right now, squashed their issues. I'm going to tell you right now, Angel, she is risking her life by giving Meech this information. We know in next week's episode, we're going to see her down in Miami. We're going to see the MKs as well, and it could be the end for your girl Angel. So down below, I want you guys to let me know, do y'all believe that Angel is going to survive, or will Glock end up taking her out? Will he cut off her water? Now, Meech had a 2-on-1 special, and I was kind of confused because after Angel told him about Glock trying to take him out or whatever, that he needs to watch his back, you will think that he will move a little bit smarter. But no, cheeks will always be a weakness. Now, all of a sudden, Glock's right-hand man, he pops up to the party, and he comes in shooting, y'all. He come in shooting. He end up shooting Dila in the shoulder. And I'm like, man, this dude ain't playing around. You know, it seemed like these girls were setting him up, which I believe they did. We know Dila, she had her girl Crystal with her. So maybe she, you know, was part of the setup. But anyway, we know Meech and Glock's right-hand man, they going at it back and forth, shooting at each other. They're fighting and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, Meech is able to get this guy up off of him. And then he goes out of the window. I mean, it was crazy. And that boy met his fate. He ain't here no more. Another body got dropped off. And I know Glock, he gonna be pissed off. He gonna be upset. He's gonna be like, man, where is my right-hand man? Because he's supposed to be meeting him in Miami. And he did tell him to take out Meech. So you already know he gonna be, you know, thinking about what really happened. Now, Meech has a conversation with Duffy because we know Meech has to go to Miami. And Duffy is telling him like, man, you got to keep your head on the swivel. You going down there in Miami with the MKs is very dangerous. But we know Meech is telling him he really does not have any choice because the mechanic is down there and he needs to go down there to make this move. So that's where he's going to be, regardless if the MKs are there or not. Now, we know Meech, he does have a conversation with Terry about going to Miami. And Terry at first was kind of like, really? But Terry told him he would end up meeting him down there. So we're going to see Meech and Terry down in Miami dealing with the MKs. And it was funny because Meech told Duffy, like, look, Angel, she gave me intel on Glock and she was right. And if anything's going to go down, you know, in Miami, she's going to give me more information. And we know Duffy tells him that all the angels in the world might not be able to save you. And he ain't lying, man. He is definitely not lying. Now, we get to the end of the episode and we get to your boy, Demon Time Bryant. He is on one and he sees Tyson. Now remember, he's already blaming Tyson for what happened to his son because he knows he went to the facility and most likely he was the guy that took the protection away from Kevin, right? And your boy Detective Bryant ain't having it. He gets out the car, he goes up there and he beats this boy down. I mean, Tyson was fighting back, but it was too much because tonight Detective Bryant was Buster Douglas. Hell, he was Evander Holyfield. He wasn't going. Ain't no way in the hell you was about to, you know, take him out, especially after all the stuff that he has been through. I mean, he beat Tyson to his death. Another body dropped off. And as I told you guys, Henrietta, you already know she's going to be very, very upset once she learns about this news. I mean, episode 9 and 10, you already know it's going to be a whole lot of action, a whole lot of drama. And now it is time. It's time to finish off people like Henrietta. It's time to finish off people like Remy. It's time to finish people off like Glock. But we know it's easier said than done. We're going to see what the two brothers are going to be able to do, especially since they're going to be together down in Miami. But we know that task down there will be difficult. But we're going to find out soon enough. I want to thank you guys for all the love, all the support, and I will catch y'all on the next one. But let me get up on out of here, man. It's your boy Mark Dark. I'm out. Peace.